Welcome to the bullshit-free zone. Welcome to Weight Loss Biohacks. The title of this video is not a clickbait. I absolutely do think that when trying to lose weight, most people are better off not exercising, and I'll explain in a minute. More specifically, in this video, we will cover the following topics. I'll explain the kind of question and answer session, the kind of conversation that I have with a client when the person first signs up with me. We will then talk about how many calories are actually burned during exercise. Then we will address the question as to whether building muscle will really speed up your metabolism, and if so, by how much. We will then talk about whether the effects of exercise actually continue after you leave the gym, as in, will your metabolism be actually kicked into high gear, and will you thus burn additional calories for several hours after you leave the gym, as some believe. And then we will speak about how exercise can often backfire. This is the kind of conversation that I have with a client when they first start working with me, and we want to decide if the person should or should not exercise. Question number one: are you currently exercising? If the answer is yes, beautiful. Keep doing it. We will shortly look into how we can make it better. If not, the next question is: have you exercised regularly anytime during the last 3 to 4 years? Regularly would mean several months of continuous exercise, as opposed to at the beginning of every year making a resolution, buying a gym membership, and having to cancel it after week 3 or week 4 because you're never showing up there. If once again the answer is no, I have not exercised regularly during the last 3 to 4 years. Next question is: do you have a compelling argument as to why this time is different? If you tell me, for example, you just retired and now you have all the free time in the world and you're willing to change it, beautiful. If you just sent your kids off to college and you have one less thing to worry about and your mind is at ease, yeah, if you can go ahead and do it this time, let's definitely absolutely give it a shot. But if once again there is not a very compelling argument as to why this time it is likely to be different, after some additional questions, of course, I tell you we're probably better off just focusing on diet for now and leaving the exercise for later. Now, where the person will end up on this decision tree depends on many factors, obviously, but most of the time, where we usually settle is you're probably better off not exercising. Now, we said is calories in versus calories out that matters, no? When you exercise, you obviously burn calories, so exercise will equal more weight loss. Is it not? Well, yes, kind of, sort of. But let's first address the big first question, the major issue. How many calories are you actually going to burn while exercising? Let me go ahead and share a funny story with you. Let me take you back approximately 28 years. I've been working out for 2 years, and I'm now, for the first time, also starting to offer personal training services, really enjoying helping people work out. I'm fanatical about working out, nutrition, exercise science, supplements, and so on and so forth. And I've surrounded myself with a whole bunch of guys in the gym who are of a similar mindset. Two of those individuals are actually studying exercise science at the university, but the rest of them are just as fanatical. We, meet at the gym, we exchange books. People, clip little articles from magazines because 28 years ago we did not have access to the internet. Our life revolves around exercise and physical culture. One day, one of those dudes, an engineer actually, a friend of ours studying engineering, I still talk to him to this day, walks into the gym with a list that looks just like this. For each exercise, the list tells you how many calories you're burning per hour, and the numbers are, of course, extraordinarily low considering what kind of an effort that exercise actually involves. I mean, you're going to be running for an entire hour and you'll burn 600 calories. That is kind of low. That's really low. Anyway, we're speaking about how we can do a whole lot better. If we ran intensely for an hour, we would be running at a much faster pace and burning maybe 900 or 1,000 calories and so on and so forth. And one of the guys studying exercise science finishes his set, hears us talking, comes on over, and is absolutely furious. Starts attacking the guy who brought this list over to the gym. It's unbelievable. He takes this really personally, even though nobody's addressing him. He's like, "You guys aren't stupid enough to believe that this sort of a ridiculous list, are you? These things have been around for decades, and they've been thoroughly debunked. It's because of you guys reducing the whole exercise phenomenon to a simple number like this that guys like me who are getting into this field professionally are having such a hard time convincing society to exercise. You're actually damaging, the well-being of society as a whole, and this and that." and he keeps escalating it. We were really close to getting into a fist fight. And to this day, the same arguments are being made whenever you present this sort of a list. Why is this list so infuriating? Why are these numbers so discouraging? Very simple. I mean, as we said, running for 1 hour will burn 600 calories. So if you run for half an hour, you burn 300 calories. If you get home after running, shower, and after shower you eat a protein, you eat an apple and consume a protein shake. Congratulations, you're back to square one. You have taken in around 300 calories and you had burned 300 calories. You are exactly even. Disaster. Terrible. By the way, let's get even more real. Let's be honest here. Can you actually run for half an hour? I don't know you. Hopefully a large number of people will be watching this video and maybe some marathon runners are also here part of my audience. But how many people can actually run for 30 minutes? If you go to the doctor and say I'm running for 30 minutes 3 times a week, he'll not even be impressed. Or the dietitian. How many dietitians actually run 30 minutes a day to 30 minutes in one go ever in their lives? How many doctors actually ran for 30 minutes? How many of these individuals went for a run with their clients? I did many times. And I'll tell you, the vast majority of people over the age of 40 cannot run for half an hour. I'm not saying the majority, I'd rather say the vast majority of people who are not trained, who do not exercise regularly, will absolutely not be able to run for 30 continuous minutes. They might be able to walk for 15 minutes and run for 15 minutes, doing, 5 minutes of each. But running for 30 minutes continuously, that is already quite an accomplishment for a 40-year-old, let alone a 50-year-old. But wait a minute, it gets better. Or rather, it gets much worse. Let's say you spend an hour at the gym and you burn 400 calories, as evidenced by the numbers on the exercise machines that you use. And by the way, let's go ahead and mention one more thing. The readouts on those gym machines are highly, highly, highly suspect. Nobody checks them. And because nobody checks them, the manufacturers of those machines are incentivized to put a significantly higher number there than is actually real. Why? Because people like getting on machines that show a high number of calories burned. People feel better about themselves if they see a larger reading, greater reading, and as a result, gym owners buy those kind of machines. I mean, how likely do you think it is somebody will actually sue an equipment maker if they exaggerate the figures on their machines, provided that they don't put something totally outrageous up there? But let's say you actually did burn 400 real true calories while spending time at the gym. Now, ask yourself the following question. Have you actually burned 400 extra calories? 400 calories more than you would have sitting around during that 1 hour period? No. Sitting around for an hour, you may end up burning as high as 100 calories. The number might seem kind of high because you're probably multiplying 100 calories by 24 hours and saying, burning 2,400 calories a day, that's kind of high. I know that's kind of high. But a large male who burns give or take 2,000 calories a day without exercise may burn as high as 100 calories during the hours that he is awake, because while he's asleep, he'll burn significantly less. If you work out the math, for a largish male, which is precisely the kind of individual who would be coming to the gym to lose that extra weight, 100 calories during, an hour of watching TV, being awake, is not an outrageous figure. As a result, you have now burned only 300 extra calories, a very, very, very low amount that will not take you very far at all. So either the list is wrong or there's more to it. The list is absolutely not wrong. These lists are produced after very, very careful calculation of people's exhalation rates, their CO2 exhalation, their oxygen consumption. I don't want to get into all of the details and bore the hell out of you, but the list is absolutely not wrong. That leaves us only with one other option. There is more to it. Or is there? Well, there better be. Otherwise, exercise appears to be an exercise in futility, rather. Now, there's two counter arguments that are being brought up, and the same two arguments have been circulating around for the last 30 years. Counter argument number one. Exercise will build muscle, and muscles will consume calories at rest. But wait a minute, this isn't sufficiently marketable. This isn't sexy enough. People aren't going to get motivated just reading it like this. Let's make it sexier. How about the following? Muscle is metabolic currency. You will turn your body into a furnace that burns fat 24/7 if you build muscle mass. So get off the couch and start lifting those weights. Ba-bam. Really? Okay. Question. How much muscle are you hoping to build? 2 pounds, 3 pounds, four, five? While we're at it, let's just be generous and say you're building 22 pounds of muscle, exactly 10 kilograms of extra muscle. That is, by the way, a monumental accomplishment. If you want to see what 22 pounds or 10 kilograms of muscle would look like on your frame, go to the supermarket and check out how much 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of chicken breast looks like. On this picture, you're seeing 4 pieces of chicken breast, and that comes out to 1 kilogram. Imagine 10 of those spread out all over your body. If you're a male, put them on top of your chest, put them around your arms. In your mind, obviously, don't be grabbing chicken in the supermarket and doing this. Place some, on your upper back because you'll be building latissimus muscles. Spread out 10 such packages all around your body. That is a huge transformation. Okay, how much extra calories does 1 kilogram or 1 pound of muscle burn per day? The LA Times did actually an entire piece of this, titling it The Myth of Ripped Muscles and Calorie Burns. I highly recommend it, even though it's a piece from 2011. The information in there is still 100% accurate because the subsequent research has corroborated this. And if you look at actually the studies, they will show the following types of figures. For muscle, they have calculated that for each kilogram of additional tissue, you will burn 12.6 calories additional per day. For fat, for each additional kilogram, you will burn 4.4 calories a day. Now, it's very interesting, isn't it, that fat actually burns, give or take, 1/3 as much calories as muscle does. This is because of a number of reasons. Fat is somewhat metabolically active. It secretes hormones. It actually absorbs hormones and so on and so forth. It's got its own blood supply. But also there is the effect of carrying around additional weight if you build fat tissue. So let's say you go to the gym and you undergo an enormous transformation. You burn 10 pounds of fat and you replace it with 10 kilograms of fat, I apologize, and you replace it with 10 kilograms of muscle. As a result, the muscle will burn 126 additional calories per day, but you will burn 44 fewer calories because you lost the fat. So, as a result of this huge transformation, you will look very dramatically different. Everybody will notice this even from on top of your clothing. And you know what? If you're a female, this is pretty much impossible unless you use steroids. For a man, this is a big accomplishment. As a result, you are now burning 82 extra calories a day. 82, not 820. In other words, you can consume an extra apple or an extra orange per day. Congratulations. Now, a lot of personal trainers will disagree with this. They'll pull a number out of where the sun doesn't shine, and they will tell you that each pound of muscle, extra muscle, will burn 50 calories a day. Where that figure comes, nobody knows. It's a nice, cute, round number that you can throw around. People aren't likely to disagree with you. You're an authority figure, with ripped muscles, walking around all over the gym. You're the personal trainer. So you just, make up a figure that will motivate your clients, and that's the end of the story. This is such an outrageous figure that people don't even sit down to think about it for a second. If they did, they would realize what a stupid number that is. A young male just starting to work out, if he really dedicates a lot of time, effort, and maybe even money to this, he could. I don't want to say he could, but there are males, young males, who over the course of several years, if they're really, 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 really dedicated, maybe with steroids, maybe without steroids, build 50 pounds of additional muscle. I've seen that happen. Rare, very difficult, but it might happen. So, if every pound of muscle was burning 50 additional calories a day, that individual would be burning 2,500 additional calories compared to his puny, skinny self. That would easily put his daily resting metabolic rate at something like over 4,000 calories a day. Impossible. The numbers are just so outrageous. No way. Alrighty. Objection number 1. Metabolic impact of muscle tissue. Thoroughly dismissed. Objection number 2. Epoch. Excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption. The idea is simple. When you exercise, your metabolic rate will go up and it will stay up for several hours following exercise. You have exhausted your muscles, you have exhausted their energy stores, you have ever so slightly damaged them, you did some micro trauma. So blood flow to the muscles should continue at an elevated rate for several hours, maybe even an entire day, maybe for 24 hours, and you will burn more calories while clearing up the waste metabolic byproducts and replenishing the muscle with energy and repairing it. Sure, but how much extra do you actually burn? In this study, the title is super illustrative. It says epoch. Is it real? Question mark. Does it matter? Question mark. And it says, if an individual were interested in performing continuous exercise that emphasizes the epoch response, exercise duration would need to be at least 60 to 80 minutes and at an intensity of 70 to 75% VO2 max. And this, they say, will result in an epoch of 170 additional calories burned beyond what you burn at the gym. This is an outrageous figure, which in the next page, as I will show you, the researchers do already admit that elite athletes could do, and the regular population likely will not. 60 to 80 minutes at 70 to 75% VO2 max. You know what? For anybody who's not a competitive athlete, you don't have to be an Olympian or something, but for somebody who's not actually competing in, say, amateur running or maybe boxing or jiu-jitsu competition or something like that, this is outright impossible. In the next page, they say, thus, for general fitness training, one should aim to be at 60 to 80% of maximum capacity and maintain this level for 20 to 30 minutes. This intensity is comparable to the training levels elite athletes would use on their steady state sessions. Right there, this is an elite level athlete of training, and a regular individual will not be able to do this, period. So, I mean, we're just estimating here, but if you are able to achieve an epoch that is half as much as the 170 calories mentioned here, that would come out to what, 85 calories? You're doing a great job. You're absolutely doing a great job. But wait a minute, how about weight training? Weight training is where it's at, right? Because you're causing a lot of trauma to your muscles. Additional amino acids would have to be sent to the muscles to be integrated into the muscle tissue. That should really take your metabolic rate higher for a long time to come, for maybe a couple days. No, exactly wrong. Absolutely not. It says traditional RT, as in resistance training workouts, the kind of workouts that you do with weights in your hand. Traditional RT workouts normally consist of 2 to 4 sets of 4 to 8 exercises with 8 to 12 repetitions, using upper and lower body exercises at 60% to 70% of one repetition maximum. So if for a given exercise you can take 30 pounds and lift it one single time, you would take 60 to 70%, like give or take 20 pounds, and lift it for 8 to 12 times. Studies using similar RT workouts report fairly consistent results in regard to epoch duration and magnitude, typically with a duration of 60 minutes with a corresponding epoch of 35 calories. Not 350, no, I haven't dropped the zero. 35 calories. Pathetic. So, essentially, the epoch effect of resistance training is zero. Might as well just, ignore this altogether. Bup, bup, bup. Yep, we've spoken about that as well. Objection number 2, epoch, once again, dismissed. By the way, it appears that the situation is as bleak as we had originally feared. If anything, the list is optimistic because it's not really showing you the extra calories that you're burning. And for decades, experts have pointed out this reality time and time again. The adage in scientific circles is, and I quote, you cannot outrun a bad diet. Once again, they say you cannot outrun a bad diet. If your diet is bad, you will not be able to exercise and counteract the effect of your bad eating habits and still lose weight, or maybe even maintain your weight. However, scientists are so afraid of being labeled like almost traitors. Scientists are so afraid of being accused of giving the wrong message to society that they can hardly speak about this in public. If they ever give a public speech, if they ever make a presentation to a lay audience, and they happen to utter this adage, they follow it up with anywhere from a dozen to 20 sentences. They literally cannot stop talking in order to excuse themselves, in order to justify this. It's really pathetic when you listen to them, and I have on many occasions. They will immediately start saying, but don't get me wrong, exercise is still such a wonderful thing. I do not want to give the message that you shouldn't exercise. If anybody is taking away that particular message, you've completely misunderstood me. You absolutely should exercise because exercise has all of these positive effects, and they did this every single positive thing that exercise can do. Is quite pathetic. Why not give people the facts and let people reason and reach their own conclusions? Just do not distort reality. Yeah, exercise is good. Am I saying that exercise is not good for you? Of course not. I'm not retarded. Exercise will reduce your risk for various diseases. You will age more gracefully. You will also age in safer fashion. You are less likely to fall. If you fall and you do have a lot of muscle tissue surrounding your bones, you're less likely to break them. You will have improved energy and stamina throughout your entire life. You will look better. You will perform better in the bedroom. Exercise is a great thing. It serves many purposes. However, exercise is a very inefficient means of losing weight, period. Why am I so adamant about this? Why do I even engage in a conversation with my clients about whether or not they should exercise and not simply put everybody on an exercise program? If it happens to stick, better. I don't approach it this way because I have nothing to gain by having you get disappointed. What I'm trying to basically understand when I have that initial conversation with people is what kind of natural disposition they have. Are they the kind of individual who, after finishing, their regular office job, for example, would rather not go into an enclosed space, either maybe spend time at the park or go and sit at the balcony of their house and not, push themselves into yet one other building? When I usually, pull up a picture of a gym, I show it to them and I say, I'll give you two descriptions of what, people see when they look at this. Which of this is more applicable to you? Some people look at this and they see people engaging in vigorous activity. They see energetic people. They see people who do something great for themselves. And their immediate reaction is, I wish I was in that sort of environment more frequently because this is empowering, invigorating. Other people, on the other hand, look at this and the first question they ask is, why would anybody want to be there? It's an enclosed space. Everybody is intensely breathing in and out and sweating. It probably smells pretty bad. In fact, for a fact, it does smell pretty bad. I've been in those places. Why would I ever want to go there? Isn't there another way to exercise? Can I not be out in the nature? Even if the weather is really bad, I just walk out walk under the trees. Why would anybody want to be there? Which of this is more applicable to you? I ask people. And for a lot of people, it's the latter. If you're not itching to get into the gym, I have nothing to gain by pushing you into the gym. And if it's headed for a failure, we're just better off not starting. You don't need a disappointment. Furthermore, you only have so much willpower. If you really push yourself to go to the gym, then it's difficult to once again push yourself at home to not eat too much. The more willpower you expend on something, the less of it you tend to have to apply to other things. Exercise can also backfire. For many people, it stimulates appetite. I'll just share with you my observations. I don't have precise figures on this. There is not a published research that I've ever come across. If there has been, and it's escaped my attention, please do share in the comments. But many of my clients have told me over the years that exercise made them hungrier and it became much harder to eat reasonable portions following exercise. If I had to guess, very few people, again, I'm just guessing, I haven't, kept precise notes on this, but something like perhaps 5% of the people that I work with have told me it is easier to control my portions after exercise. If anything, it reduces my appetite. That's like 1 in 20, 5% of the people have maybe said that. Maybe another 30%, one out of three, have said it doesn't really impact my appetite up or down. That's pretty much the same regardless. The majority of people, that leaves us with what, like 65% of people by my estimates, have told me that their appetite goes up after any kind of physical exertion. Yeah, that is much more frequent in my experience. Besides, even if your appetite doesn't outright jump, Most people feel the desire to reward themselves after the gym. Furthermore, adding one other variable into the mix, namely dieting, and adding the second complicating variable of exercise into the mix, makes this a much harder experiment to manage. Number one, I'll tell you the real things that real people actually tell me. Luca, should I eat before the workout? You don't need to. All right, the person goes in, we work out, and they go, well, I'm kind of lightheaded. Next time I should eat more. At that point, it's very difficult to tell the person, no, no, I mean, be lightheaded. If you faint, I don't give a damn. At that point, I pretty much have to tell them, all right, have a little something rich in carbohydrates. Don't make it too big a portion. Don't make it very simple sugars. Don't make it very complex carbs. I don't know, maybe a banana or maybe a tiny little sandwich with a little something fatty in it, so that it doesn't digest too fast, but doesn't sit in your stomach. But you know what? We've already added extra calories. How about after the workout? Once again, I'll tell you the exact conversation that I have, which is so crazy frustrating. Hey, I should have some protein after the workout, right? Should I get some protein shakes? Sure, you can. Yeah, it's a good idea. Absolutely. I want you to bring a shaker to the gym, put some protein powder in it, and then at the gym, we're going to mix it with water and have you drink it. And already people object to this because they realize it's going to taste bad. Or in the beginning, they're okay with the idea, but after tasting it, they're like, I'm not going to drink this. This tastes horrible. Can I mix it with milk? All right, but now again, we're adding extra calories. Okay, go ahead and mix it with at least skim milk, and maybe try if you can, add a little bit of milk and a little bit of water, just enough to actually dilute the whole thing and dissolve it. You know what? Most people, let alone adding a little bit of water on top of the milk, cannot even stomach it if they add skim milk. Oh, Luca, this tastes like nothing I've had before. Last time I had skim milk was like 10 years ago, and this brought back terrible memories. It tastes like crap. Can I use full fat milk? Why don't you at least try 2%? Some people settle at 2%. Some people they gotta have full fat milk. Again, we've added extra calories. Wait, it doesn't end there. It gets worse. Luca, I'm sore. Am I undereating? Am I maybe not consuming sufficient protein to recuperate and to replenish my muscles after the workout? You know what? Show me what you're eating. Send me some pictures. I look at it and my answer is, nah, you're definitely not undereating. Trust me. Can I add some bananas? I heard they're great. Can I add, I don't know, like some brown rice? Well, brown rice is not gonna take away the soreness. It really will not. But if you insist, all right. But subtract something else from your diet, which they usually do not. How about fatigue the day after? I'm fatigued. I'm probably undereating, considering that I'm also going to the gym. I don't know, not likely. Well, how about, I eat a little bit more just on the morning following the workout? Maybe that will help. Again, we've added extra calories. So very frustrating to manage. So, what's the bottom line? What do I recommend people do? Again, if you're not the type who's already exercising or who has a very compelling reason to convince both yourself and me that you will actually exercise and it'll stick this time, I recommend that you first adopt a slightly modified eating pattern. Let's reduce your calories without completely redoing your diet, because if we do, it's going to be much harder to stick to it. My entire strategy has always revolved around making as few modifications to your diet as possible while reducing calories. And this is what we'll talk in the next video. Let's go ahead and do that first. Let it settle and let's see the scale move a bit. Let's build motivation, let's build momentum. Then we sit down and then we consider taking the next step, which can indeed be exercise. This is what I actually tell people, real people who actually work with me. All right, you said diet, but you've spoken about modifying your diet as little as possible while reducing calories so you can stick to it. How exactly does that work? So, what exactly is it that I should eat? I'm glad you asked. See you in the next video. Thank you.